Hello again and welcome back to Mimsy Park. Today we are going to be reviewing 3 movies that I watched recently. One on Netflix, one on DVD, and one on Blu-ray. I think in that order. Either way, let's get into it. Before we get into this first movie, I should say, spoiler alert, I don't know how much of this is going to ruin any of this for you guys. I don't know if you plan on watching this movie. It's not so terrible that you should just avoid it completely, but don't go into this expecting anything phenomenal. The first movie I watched was In Darkness, starring Natalie Dormer and Ed Skrein. I think that's how you pronounce it. 2 actors I really like in a movie that I did not care for at all. The premise of the movie is pretty ridiculous in my opinion. The whole blind special agent thing or whatever. It feels like one misleading twist and turn after another, which just makes it confusing, not really enjoyable in my opinion. I would like to know in the scene where she's leaving the hospital and she has to go back to her house or loft or apartment or whatever she's got. I want to know how she makes it out of her room, makes it through the hospital, and then makes it from the hospital all the way to her residence without being noticed, without being helped, or anything like that. I mean, a cane, a person, anybody. No help, nothing like that. That's a glaring inconsistency to me because it's just unrealistic. And this isn't some like out there sci-fi fantasy movie or anything like that. It seems like it's supposed to be rooted in reality a little bit. So that kind of stood out quite a bit to me. I would like to know, after finding out that this dude put her through all of this, I would like to know why she's making love to him. Maybe I missed something, but that kind of stood out to me a little bit. Having a confidential, covert conversation in a museum where sound echoes and reverberates a lot seems a little short-sighted to me. I'm not a special agent, so what do I know? I think that's the biggest thing with this movie is nothing seems very realistic at all. The whole I am your father thing, it just seemed very shoehorned into me. Like you could have gone any other direction with it, but I have a feeling it was just there to make the villain seem even more horrible and monstrous than previously assumed. Okay, now that I have ragged on In Darkness, let's get on to the second movie, which I did enjoy, which was the Chernobyl Diaries. I watched this one on Netflix. I owned it on DVD, but I watched it on Netflix just because I knew the resolution would be better. This one I really do enjoy. It's a lot of fun. It has that kind of found footage feel to it without being a found footage movie. There is that fourth wall there. I don't know if this was a budget choice or if this was just a creative choice. Either way, even though I am not a huge fan of found footage movies, I was a fan of this one. I've watched it a couple times now. The whole Chernobyl thing is really interesting to me, maybe just because I'm a history buff, but I like the whole Chernobyl history, not like interested in the whole Chernobyl history. And I like horror movies. The acting is done well, it's shot well, and I don't know if it was shot on location or not. If it was not shot on location, they did a phenomenal job of making it look like it was shot on location. It is a Last Girl kind of horror movie. In looking at the background of the movie, I did find out that there was a petition to ban the movie because people thought it was basically making light of people that had gone through this atrocity. I didn't really take it as a movie that was making light of the whole situation. It was more of like a setting and plot kind of thing. Definitely recommended. It is on Netflix. It's not super gory or graphic. A lot of it is more like tense horror. There's no jump scares or anything like that. Next up we have probably the worst one that I watched on Blu-ray. It couldn't have been cheap enough. Don't Look Up. And holy crap, don't watch this movie. This is bad. The way it's shot, it doesn't have a horror feel. It feels more like Are You Afraid of the Dark was made into an adult story and then they combined it with some mini-series on the WB or the CW. It's not good. The whole premise of like haunted film footage and like trying to film at that location and all the ghosts coming out is all great, but oh my god, this was bad. Flies are a big part of this movie, and you will see why if you take the time to watch it. I would not recommend doing that. You can spend your time doing other things. There are no real flies. No real flies at all. There are all CGI flies, and the CGI is not good either. It doesn't look like they took any time on any technical creative aspect of this except getting the focus and camera work correct. Do go watch the movie if you just want to see what I'm talking about. I pushed all the way through. I got through this entire movie, and all I came out with at the other end was a memory. A memory and a story of how bad it was. And I did that so you don't have to. Thank you for joining me for these movie reviews. It really does mean a lot that you guys are watching these. I really do enjoy making them. If you like this video, go ahead and throw me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, go ahead and throw me a thumbs down. And if you want to stay up to date on future videos, go ahead and throw me a subscription. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.